Okay. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. I don't know what's up with this mic. It says it's hot, but it ain't hot on here. Check. Like I don't get it, but whatever. Let me see. Check. Whatever. It you know if you come across this joint, press one. Right. So if you see the thumbnail, um, I lost my custody case today, but uh we're gonna have to talk about some things for you guys who've been in the whole court system. So uh there's gonna be some unfairness that is talked about. I'm just gonna tell y'all. For all the ladies who talk about, abandonment and all that other stuff, or their kid was abandoned, we're gonna get into that too. You get what I'm saying? So and it's because of stuff like this. So I'm gonna keep it short because it's like basically 10 bullet points. So it says the parties, let me see something. Let me do this. The parties are the parents of my kid, right? That's the first one. The second one, on May 27th, 2022, father filed a petition to modify custody, alleging that the minor child had been living with him and attending high school since, 2000 and quote unquote 21. That's the second one. The third one, the minor child resided with father until July 2022 when he returned to the mother's care in their city or whatever, right? The minor child. So the fourth one is the minor child attends high school in that state. The fifth one, the minor child resides with the mother in the same neighborhood and community that he lived in before, going to the father's home. All right. That's the sixth one. Mother was initially supportive of the change of custody to the father, but testified that she changed her mind due to the sometimes volatile relationship between the father and the minor. That's number seven. The court has considered all relevant statutory factors and finds both parents appropriate. Eight, the court finds that in the minor child's best interest to deny a petition to modify custody. So a petition to modify custody was denied. Nine, the minor child returned to the mother's care approximately 3 weeks after the modification petition was filed and has been thriving in the child's care. That's nine. And 10, all prior orders remain in full force and in effect. So this was yesterday. Now here's the issue. What's not in this order is what was in the testimony. The mother admitted to getting into fights with our son and him running away. That's what she admitted in court. But the only thing that comes up in this ruling is she testified that our relationship was volatile. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Right. So my issue is never really with the quote unquote mothers, it's with the way that the quote unquote system does things. Because even like if the testimony is on camera and it's on file and you know, the only part you got is what happened, that's the problem. So it's like you only listen to what the mother said. So she could say, "Yeah, I admit to fighting my kid, and I admit to him running away because it was that bad. But the reason why I came and get him is because the, the relationship was volatile. That's all you remember. That's a problem. Now, as far as picking up, my son actually didn't get picked up by his mother. She basically kidnapped him, and she basically admitted that too. Because I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going on. I went to work. I came back. He was gone. That was how it worked, right? So she admitted to that in court too. But that's not in the quote unquote ruling, which this is why I say with guys, this stuff becomes a problem because there comes a point where if if when you go to court and the law is not even gonna actually say what went on, you got a problem. You know, It's not about that detail. It's not. Um, I'm using this as a reference though. So the point of the matter is, what winds up happening is this is actually what happens in court. And then you hear the stories of, oh, the child was abandoned. Oh, the child has traumatic, toxic issues. It's like, no, they don't. You know, no, they don't. What happens is, a lot of mothers just are allowed to do a lot of ridiculous stuff. Now, the other thing that I had to point out in this situation was, um, now I don't know how true this is yet because that's just paper rule and that ain't. But when it's like all things are still in full effect, that also means that I get no credit for him living with me. And this is the second time this has happened. The first time this happened, I got no credit for him living with me, and I wound up having to pay extra. This second time is looking like I'm getting no credit, and I'm gonna still have to pay the same thing. So now I'm gonna have to go back to court and say, "Hey, man, I'm not. No, 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 no. We're not doing this." So that's a whole nother thing because custody and support are two different things per se, right? And the court can't the custody court act like they can't give credit for all of this stuff. So it's like whatever. Now, in spite of with all of that being said, and the reason why I'm bringing up money is because of one particular thing, and it's the second time this has happened. You know, the problem with child support and parenting is mothers can do everything that they want to do financially and keep getting slaps on the wrist. So here's the issue. What I mean, basically, my son's mother claimed my son on her taxes. So he was with me. She wasn't paying support. I was still sending her the child support. She was supposed to send it back, but she really only sent the stuff back like 3 times. And then she claimed them. So then I had to pay taxes. So ultimately, it's like a quadruple win for shenanigans, right? And now it's like, okay, now what's next? And here's the issue about what's next. What's next is I'm probably never going to talk to my son until he's an adult. See, what a lot of y'all forget is, there comes a point, where, um, how can I say this? My mother bought my son a cell phone. I paid the bill, right? And and the thing about that was what happens at the end, man, what the heck? Hold up. I don't know, somebody calling me from Mississippi. And what happens is this. As a father, I don't have a problem with him talking with to his mother, but as a mother, she's always blocked the phone. She's always snatched his phone. So my relationship with my son has always been impeded by the mother, right? So prior to this little thing, uh, I was like, okay, we're gonna go through this court thing, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, look, I'm gonna make sure he hates you for the rest of his life. So I was like, I chuckled. I'm like, here we go with this BS again. So when she snatched my son or whatever, she went. I ain't talked to him since. Not even on the phone not even on his phone or whatever, right? I changed the number. I wound up, just cutting it off or whatever. So the part that guys sometimes don't get credit for is this abandonment part. And see, this is what this is really about. This is the abandonment part, and the toxic and the trauma part is the issue. So you wind up having kids talk about they was abandoned, but truth be told, they're just their mother's baby. That's pretty much what it is. They're just their mother's baby. If mama say, burn the house down, they burn the house down. If mama say lie, they lie. If mama say steal, they steal. So then when when people go, I can't, you lie, you steal, you try to burn the house down, can't deal with that. And then it's like, well, the kid is abandoned. They're not abandoned. They're just pretty much on some BS. So most guys say, move on. And that's the truth. You can move on. You get what I'm saying? You can move on. And to me, I don't have an issue with moving forward. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's normally like I was doing the reason I did this because I was doing a panel with Bernard Riley, and we were talking about basically um, the male female dynamic and how there really are no consequences for women, and we already know that the consequences are minimal. And what I brought into it was the issue ain't necessarily just the consequences for women are minimal. The issue is the consequences. Their children go about life thinking they'll have no consequences, and they do ridiculous stuff. So when these things happen, nobody's like, oh, shocked. That I'm not shocked that the court system is in favor of a mother who basically breaks all the rules. I'm not shocked. You get what I'm saying? I'm not. But people become shocked when they go, these kids is out of pocket. And it's like, well, let me explain to you what happens. Let me explain to you why the kids are out of pocket. Let me tell you what happens. Parents go to court for custody, right? For family court battles. Mothers could be very flawed, and fathers can have to be beyond perfect, right? So flawed mother normally wins. Even if things are on the same playing field, flawed mother wins. If the father is better than the mother, flawed mother wins. And then what happens is this: when mom wins, mom doubles down on acting ignorant. So now the kid sees mom double down on being ignorant, and since they got to pass by the court, now they act ignorant in life. So guess what they teaching the kid? To act ignorant. See what I'm saying? So now the kids running around acting ignorant, and y'all trying to figure out where it came from. It really came from the confidence and ego of I won in court, so I'm really turn up. And it's like, and even the family and friends don't say you won, but you did wrong. You're not right about, and I'm not saying every woman is wrong and every man is right and every man is right and every woman is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, if you have an abusive mother who wins custody, she's gonna double down and be more abusive. That's what I'm saying. If you have a mother who lies, and she's gonna double down and be more of a liar. So the kid is gonna be more abusive. The kid is gonna be more of a liar. The kid is if the mother's a manipulator, she's gonna double down and be more of a manipulator. So the kid is gonna be more of a manipulator. So what you see in public is you see these kids and these young adults acting in ways that are really gonna get them stomped out in life because the court system gave the mothers a stamp of approval. It's one thing to have custody. It's another thing to win custody and people know you're dead wrong and have no stipulations with what you did. And oh yeah, we know what you did. We're not even going, we know what you admitted to. We know how you lied. We know what you stole. You got caught up in court. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's like, no, that's not okay, dog. Right. So now you got that issue where the kids become um the kids think you can burn bridges and then call somebody later and be cool. Like, "Hey, yeah, I know I did you dirty, but we good now, right?" And it's like, no, we not. That's where this abandonment stuff, in my opinion, comes from. Because I've seen this time and time again with me, away from me. It's the lie, cheat, steal, lack of respect thing. And the other reason I'm making is because while I was in court, my channel was brought up as if that had anything to do with my parenting. So screw it. Let's go. Let's go. Like, I know I ain't gonna talk to my son because he ain't gonna call me. He ain't allowed to call me. And personally, I mean, at this point, I'm like, I don't trust him. I don't trust him. So it doesn't matter either way now. So the thing about it is, when you're in that situation, what the hell? Sorry, y'all. What winds up happening is, you know, because I remember the thing they had with Brian McKnight. You saw the thing with Tyrese. And the issue comes with people actually believe, a lot of the times when the kids come out in public and say stuff like, "Oh, my dad was this." Y'all believe the 50 Cent thing, right? And another thing I'm gonna bring in there is Jamie Foxx, because he was sick or whatever, and his daughter had to see how people was going in on her father. That had nothing to do with that. But the reason I'm bringing the people up that I'm bringing up is this: it's because the one of the consistent things that happens through and through these situations is society actually believes all the kids. They believe all the this happened and that happened, and then the father got to come out and say, "Listen, I did this, and this and this." Right now there's a case with a kid who's trying to take Jay-Z to Supreme Court to prove he's his father. You know, that's okay. And I remember they did that to Michael Jordan previously. And I remember, if y'all forgot, they did that to Bill Cosby. And if you look on social media, you see all these paternity shows with all this stuff that's done. But even though if the guy's the father or not the father, the guy goes to jail. The guy gets jammed up. It's a lot of stuff that happens. And ultimately, the mother has no consequences and the kid has no consequences, because there's no consequences involved. And what you wind up seeing is people who have a lack of ethics and morals. That's basically what happens at the end of the day. You have a lack of ethics and morals. You know, you know, whatever. Yeah, I'm reading comments. Um, so when y'all see these kids, wearing a poof shiesty mask, because let me get into this. So when I was in court, right, right, when I was in court, my son's mother brought up, "Oh, they got into it. They get into it, blah, blah, blah." Oh, fam, I'm good. It ain't even for me. Get a chubby white girl. I hate you for that. Uh, but she brought up, "Oh, they got into it." Me and my son did get into it. We definitely got into it. So this is what happened. So, all right, how can I say this? Because I'm not trying to do him dirty, right? Right, it is normal. But so basically, this would happen. My son was failing a Spanish class because he just didn't feel like doing it. And I was like, "Listen, I don't care if you don't feel like doing it, do it." In my opinion, he was on the phone all night with either his mom or one of his friends, and he didn't want to wake up in the morning. And the Spanish class was the first class, so he didn't want to pay attention. That's just my opinion. But his football coach, I run into his football coach, and I'm like, how he doing? Because he getting on my nerves right now. He acting like he got a problem. He said, "Man, I was gonna call you because his behavior just went downhill." And I'm like, "Okay, I know what's going on now." And I asked my son, I said, "Listen, you and your mama got cool again?" He's like, "Yeah." And I know my son well enough to know that when him and his mama get cool, I become the enemy. You get what I'm saying? So now he just want to act out, but he don't necessarily want to act out with me because he know that ain't a battle he gonna win. So he goes to school and he's acting out in school. And after I talk to the football coach, the coach tells me something that when I get home, is on. So he says, "Yeah, man, what he did is I had to catch him in the hallway because he walking around the hallway with a ski mask on." And at that point, I was like, "You know what? I'm about to hurt you, boy. I'm about to hurt you." So I get home, I get out the belt, and I start wailing. I'm like, "You walking around a school in Texas with a ski mask on when they had school shootings around here? I don't, no, 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 no. We're not doing this." So he calls his mother as if she was going to save him from that. Of course, he didn't tell his mother what he did. So That's all, that's the only time we really got into it, but that was what it was about, right? And the issue with stuff like that is you act like a kid's not supposed to be disciplined for that, you know. And the sad part about it is his mom thought she was gonna record the situation because she was gonna use it in court because at the time I had already filed for the custody because because I'm like, yo, like, because she was supposed to do it, but she didn't do it, which brings the issue of integrity. And I wrote a book on non-custodial parenting or whatever. And part of that book, I was like, what you say? Yeah, half truth, half the story, exactly. So part of that book was like, sometimes you're gonna meet mothers who want you to. The only way you can keep the child is if you pay them the child support. So basically, my son's mother stopped sending me back the child support. She wanted to keep it, and I'm like, nah, no, we're not doing this again. Because the first time she tried to do that, I was like, it's not happening. So basically, I wind up, you know, how can I say this? I'm so my son was smaller, so I was just sending her money directly, but it's from a direct deposit kind of account. So basically, she sent me, this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. My son's mother sent me this boy twice. Twice. But in court, she didn't say why she did it twice. So the second time in court, she had to admit that she did it twice. And for all the mothers in the world, here's the issue. When you tell a judge something like, "Yeah, I sent him the baby the first time because I was under duress because I was having another baby." So you sent him to be with his father. That's how I take it, right? But we had already had an agreement that if I get him ready for school, I keep him. But she flaked on it. So ti now 10 years go by and we get into it. He fought, he ran away. He can never live in my house again. And my son's talking that I never live with my mama again. I'm like, all right, man, come here. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm the problem. I'm like, all right, dog. Now, a lot of times, you know, what winds up happening in court, it don't, even if you say it and even if she admits it, because she admitted this, you know, I was under duress. I'm like, how you under duress being pregnant? Whatever, dog. So even with that, it's like, oh, he got a whipping. You damn right he got a whipping. You think I'm gonna let this boy walk around the school with a ski mask on and mess around and get shot? They're like common sense, like, no, 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 no. That's not gonna happen. No, no, you feeling yourself a little too much. Because he had really nothing to be mad at. You get what I'm saying? He really had nothing to be mad at. He was just having an attitude. And that had nothing to do with me, whatever. Oh, take it back. He told the football coach he didn't like his haircut. So that's why he was walking around with a damn ski mask. I was like, that's just some stupid shit. Like, it was dumb. Um, so when you have this type of stuff happens in court, not and it's justified, it's kind of like, bro, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So, you not as a father, you're not supposed to discipline a kid who's acting out of pocket in school. You're not supposed to discipline a kid if they're not doing their chores. I didn't discipline him for not doing his chores. I was gonna pay him for his chores. I just didn't pay him. He didn't do his chores, so I didn't pay him. And he was, I want some money. You ain't do no chores, so you ain't get no money. So that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it started. It's like you don't want to clean the room, you don't want to clean the house, you don't want to cut the grass. Cool, you ain't getting paid. Period. Because I wanted to show him, work pays, not BS. Not just whatever. But as far as acting out in public, oh yeah, he was gonna pay for that. Um, so now you're in a situation where what do y'all think a father in similar situations is supposed to do? What do you think guys are supposed to do? You think they're supposed to keep calling and calling and calling and keep driving over that? No, because that's how you get a police charge. You see what I'm saying? That's literally like so. Some of y'all don't realize a lot of times these issues happen with quote unquote baby mama or baby daddy drama is because of the communication. And it's not because two people can't communicate. It's because somebody wants to be a control freak and you're going to talk when I want you to talk. You're going to talk to your child when I want you to talk. You're going to see your child when I want you to see your child. You're not going to see your child when I don't want you to see your child. That's where all pretty much the clash happens. So, even though the court order is what it is, I'm never going to see him. I can guarantee you I'm never going to see him. It's not gonna be a call. It's not gonna be a FaceTime. He ain't coming here. You get what I'm saying? So, and I can say honestly, like he might he might try to FaceTime me one time to say I did it, but he ain't gonna talk to me like that, like real talk. He's not, because he ain't talked to me when he was one room over, and he ain't talked to me on the phone when she was with him because she would take his phone. So he has a phone, but she always has it, right? So I got to call her to talk to my son. I'm like, I'm not calling you no more. Or call her mama to talk to my son. Or call her sister to talk to my son. I'm like, I ain't doing that. And a lot of y'all think a lot of these fathers are not communicating with their kid because of their, you know, they just deadbeats. No, a lot of like that. I'm not the only one that happens to. I'm not the only one that your child winds up on punishment an exorbitant amount of times, hypothetically, when you got to talk to them. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of that is what it is. So when you see some guys who, you know, they how can I say this? They get in relationships or they get relationships, they get married or they go on a life and they have a quote unquote another family. Y'all don't take into consideration, maybe just maybe, the wall is so big that ain't no getting over it. It's like, well, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It ain't no getting over it. Now, I ain't tripping because the boys, he about to be 17, you know. But at the same time, you kind of as a parent, you kind of get a certain fear because it's unfortunate that when stuff like this happens, normally the child doubles down too. So he's really gonna act out of pocket, in my opinion, because like, nah, I can really cut up. Can't nobody tell me what to do. Because a lot of times, a lot of you moms, you know, y'all can't tell y'all kids nothing because you know, y'all are scumbags. And now the very same thing that y'all did they got away with. Now your kid gonna press you like you did it. Why I can't do it? And you can't necessarily tell them nothing because they have to be on your team doing your scumbag stuff. And now they're like, no, I'm gonna do it, and that's a problem. A lot of this, you know, one of the major reasons why when I was talking about kids being out of pocket is because normally y'all think these mothers could tell them stuff, but they can't. You get what I'm saying? Mom can't tell him nothing, not just because she's a woman. It's because really, what the heck? Because my okay, it's not just because she's a woman. It's because Dante, bro, I'm just using this as information for other people who might be going through something. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Believe that. So, what winds up happening is when you had these kids in this situation, now the parents say the kids out of control. They're actually not really out of control. It's just you want them to be a good kid after you taught them to be a bad kid for your benefit, and they're not finna do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening. These kids go left because they gotta go left to make you look good, and then they're like, shoot, man, they kids. They take advantage of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So now, when they take advantage of stuff like that, it's like, you know, for me, I don't. And let me tell you. Let me say this. I'm gonna tell y'all so you understand why I say I'm good. The only reason my son came to my house because him and his mother got into a fight and he ran away because you know I would call to check on him and see what's going on with him on a daily basis. And I would have to go through his mom, and she would always keep up some kind of BS. So he would have a bad attitude. So what I did was I said, listen, I'm sick of y'all blaming me for whatever going on in y'all in this house with y'all. I ain't called here for all of y'all drama. So what I'm gonna do is I ain't gonna call you for 6 months and show you I ain't the problem. So before that 6 months into got into it, she called me multiple times trying to get him in line. And then they got into a fight, and then he ran away, and then she sent them to me. You see what I'm saying? So for me, that's why I say I'm good. I already knew my son was gonna live with me at a certain point because of how the things go on, the way things go on in that household. So the issue is my son ain't the only kid like that. You see what I'm saying? He ain't the only kid like that. Some of these kids really don't have real issues and traumas. That's why I would talk about people who have, some of y'all don't have issues and trauma. Some of y'all just spoiled brats. You get what I'm saying? And life is a trauma for you. For me, it's like, whatever. So when you get in a situation, you're seeing more and more people like looking at it like, listen, where the fathers at? Where the fathers of these kids at? The fathers have been where they at. Y'all never asked the real question. How what happens when they're with their dad? That's the question that y'all don't want to ask. Because the truth be told, what happens is in the beginning, it's a lot of back and forth because of drama. And then the kids settle down and then they just fall in line. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I look at it in the sense of, um, this is this type of behavior is why a lot of young black boys in particular aren't prepared for life because their moms keep telling them that lying and manipulating and half truths and half stories is going to get them ahead. And the problem with that is with young men in particular, it could get real ugly and violent because you wind up taking that around other young men. And instead of just being a stand-up person, you trying to scam somebody all the time. And then when the fallout of scamming hit, it's gonna get ugly and violent because most of these guys can't fight. Most of these guys ain't got nothing to do. So they go completely left, like they ain't got nothing to stand on. So when people say, yo, this person's a deadbeat, or this kid got abandoned, I'm saying this to say, yo, y'all got to get this together. BGS, what's up? You know, Appreciate you, man. And don't worry about them dudes with that stuff, man. But I got you. So what winds up happening is it becomes cynical. You know, that's the kind of it becomes like the prodigal son type story, except the parents was together in the prodigal son type story. Then you have it as an adult. So now it's like, you know, now as an adult, you got a lot of these kids, and I can say it even in my sense. A lot of these kids burn bridges with their dad and their dad's family. My issue with my son, I'm like, you just not trustworthy. You're just not trustworthy. That's just what it is. But past that, he only talks to my mother when he wants something. Now he don't talk to her because of this. He only talk to my father when he wants something. Now he don't talk to my lady no more. He don't talk to his aunts. But he could only talk to them on a regular basis when he was with me. He got their numbers, he got the phone. So if I'm blocked, my whole side of the family blocked. Until it goes so bad that he wants somebody to give him something. And now it's to the point where, and this is why I gotta say this partially for some of you guys who get quote unquote alienated, right? What happens is um your kid has to double depend on the side of the family that they quote unquote love so much, which is the mother side of the family. And then they don't come through consistently, and then they can't go back to the quote unquote father side of the family because they got caught up trying to use this father side of the family. And people like, I talk to you, but I ain't helping you. You know, I need something for Christmas for my birthday. No, 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 no. You ain't talked to me in 3 years. The last time you talked to me, you wanted something, then you got stuff out of me, then you ain't talked to me no more. So we're not doing that. So and the older these kids get, they become adults, and then it's like, and this is why I say sometimes you get what's going on because Most fathers know this. When that last child support payment hit, that kid is as good as kicked out. That kid is as good as kicked out. So if that kid don't think about going to college or the military or trade school, that's what happens with a lot of these kids wind up being in the streets dealing drugs and riding around scamming. That's what happens, you know. So when these kids, they out in the streets, they looking like they looking shiftless. It's like, yeah, that last child support payment hitting, they out of there. They gone. That's it. Then all the love that they thought they had becomes anger. Like a lot of that red pill rage stuff that what you see in young men that they don't is that they don't know that is quote unquote red pill rage is the anger of feeling betrayed after they was betraying everybody else. So it's like it is what it is. And unfortunately, you know, me being a father, you're not gonna be able to come to me with it. Like, yeah, you stab me in the back, dog. And a lot of this stuff could be avoided. And the court kind of, like I said, it exacerbates the problem because there is no what you call that? There is no consequences. So it exacerbates the problem. And since there's no consequences, the kids kind of wind up being adults, and if they get somebody pregnant, then they go through it. You know, if he won't, yeah, life does teach folks. You know what I'm saying? And that becomes a problem because when life start teaching you, that's partially also that I'm going through trauma and I've been through this. It's like no, 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 you just hard headed. You just hard headed. So now it's like, and I gotta go there. If y'all been on my page, y'all know I got like 2 albums on my page. But one of the things I don't like a lot of artistic people because especially with young black boys, they want to become rappers because they don't pay attention in school and because they don't follow instructions at home. So then you hit the street and I'm gonna be a dope boy and I'm gonna be a rapper. And it's like, bruh, being a rapper, being a musician is not a bad profession. It's not something to be looked down on. The problem is what it is now. It's a lot of rebellious kids who want to be musicians and rappers because they feel like that's their last bastion of hope because they didn't actually pay attention or were disciplined enough to do the stuff that they were supposed to do when they were school age or college age. That's when your friends got to have an intervention with you. When you got grown friends, you 19, 20, and your friends 19 and 20, and they like, listen, what you doing, dog? What are you doing? Because your parents tired of telling you. They ain't gonna tell you no more. Like, why are you out here doing this and doing that? You said you was gonna do this. Why are you not doing that? So a lot of this stuff becomes, it starts getting ugly. So a lot of you kids out here, um, I feel for y'all because of y'all guilt. Because a lot of y'all become young adults when y'all realize I forgot I did all of that. Because a lot of times you got to run it down to people. You did this, 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 and you can't just call and say my bad. That ain't how it's gonna work. And then on the flip side, even in my son's mother's issue, she has more kids. She got 3 kids, and the oldest is a father. And get in the game that they got to play is what from my understanding, from time to time, he got alienated from his own kids. And now she tries to play the middle, like, I'm gonna take care of them to keep the kids around you kind of situation. And one of the girls like, man, get out of my face. So now she got grandkids that she can't see all of her grandkids. So the mother becomes the grandmother who has to deal with the same thing. And do I feel for her? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, do I feel for my kid? Yeah. Do I feel for society? Not really. Because a lot of this stuff, like, Mr. Palmer will tell you, a lot of this stuff is about money. It's about money. You know, you, so now it's like, he said, don't turn your back on him, brother. He's still a kid. He said that boy's about to be 17 years old in like a week. That's not turning. I'm glad you said that, Dante. I think I'm gonna explain something. A lot of these you don't turn your back on your child, but you got to protect yourself from their BS. And I think a lot of times people lump it in lump it into the same thing. So you don't if you can't trust somebody, you don't just open arms and open heart with that person. You can't trust them. That's the thing. Like it's not like F you, walk off, I'm never, forget you for life. It's not that. It's like I can't trust you. Can't trust you, buddy. So if I help you, I gotta help you from afar. If I deal with you, I gotta deal with you from afar. I can't deal with you close up because I already know what you're gonna do. And a lot of y'all think, and I get it. I do get it. But if a kid is 5 years old doing that, and 10 years old doing that, and 15 years old doing that, they don't change at 20. They don't change at 25. That's pretty much what they're gonna do. You get what I'm saying? That's pretty much they might become a parent and then change. And they go, oh, that's what I was doing. But they normally don't change. They'll still, be your kid that loves you when they want something. And when they get it, they don't know you no more. They're still gonna do that. So it's that, you exactly you got to set those boundaries. It is what it is, you know. So a lot of times people gotta take that stuff into consideration. You know, you know. Sometimes it's like, yeah, that's how they socialize, but at the same time, we got to stop acting like see, we give baby mamas a hard time because at the end of the day, they know right and wrong. The same way they give deadbeat dads a hard time because they know the difference between right and wrong. You got to understand these kids know the difference between right and wrong too. Like I was predominantly raised by my grandparents, and they wouldn't they, they wouldn't take that. They don't care about that. Like, yo, are you a good person or not? Did you do the right thing or did you do the wrong thing? If you did the right thing, I got your back. If you did the wrong thing, you're on your own. That's what it was. That's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. That's how it was in the past. That's how it's gonna be in the future. Like that's the outcast, right? Exactly. You can't reward bad behavior. You can't. You can't. So at the end of the day, um, for you guys out there that feel down about certain stuff, you gotta let it go, bro. You gotta let it go. Like, you know, for me, it ain't. It's like, is it heartbreaking? No. Listen, if I wrote a book about it's called Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father almost 10 years ago, you really think I'm heartbroken today? Oh, the system is unfair. No. But for you guys who are out here, I can say this in the sense of the same way I make videos with the same chill demeanor is the same way I'm doing this. Because I can deal with the reality. But for you guys who can't deal with the reality, you know, it's like, you got to understand, y'all got to chill out. This is why I said, you got to get hobbies. YouTube is like a hobby. You know, I box in the morning. So, I get up in the morning, I do a boxing workout, I go to work, I come back, do YouTube, upload, blah, 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 do some other stuff, handle some other business, blah, blah, blah. And I chill, cook, clean, chill, all that other stuff. I do all that. That's a daily routine. I'm up at normally at 4:30 in the morning and I go to bed at sometimes between 10 and 12 o'clock. And I was doing that with my son was here, taking him, picking him up from practices in school and all the other stuff. So for me, it ain't a big deal. You know, yeah, 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 exactly. Like that happens. Like you got to deal with it. Like sheep, you got to, at some point you got, and I say this for all you fellas out there: life is not fair. Yes, the courts are not fair. Yeah, whatever. But don't see. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to say it directly. So, because it's personal in a sense. There, they've had I've had far more tragic things happen in my life than this. So this is like it's not it's easy. It's light work. And I've had far more tragic things happen to people I love in this last year, in less than a year's time. So, like, this is still light work. So understand that sometimes when you go through serious life altering tragedies, stuff like this doesn't really hold as much weight as if you didn't. You see what I'm saying? Oh man, I appreciate you, man. It's all good. Um, as if it didn't. So, like, I've taken losses in life by losing certain people in life that can never come back. That nothing will ever beat that. There's nothing in the world that ever beat that. Ever. There's no pain ever. So, and I've been in other situations that were very, very painful. And it's like, oh, it's not near that. I'm good. So the reason I say that is because if you haven't been through that, I need you guys to not stress yourself out to the point that you might um, have health issues. Don't drink because of your because you depressed. Because a lot of times unfairness and alienation sometimes it leads down a dark road. Sometimes you become an alcoholic. Sometimes you become you do drugs. Sometimes you get into the nightlife and you're into the street. Sometimes you become overly sexual or womanizer. Sometimes you might even be overly abusive. You got to make if it's negative, you got to turn it into a positive. You get what I'm saying? Appreciate it, Bucket. You got to turn it into a positive. You got to do other things like me, I lift weights. I box, gardening, and like I said, I was doing that while my son was here. I was doing that prior to him being here. While he was here and after. You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do what I do, and I was doing YouTube that whole time when he was here. So not a big deal. But you gotta do something that keeps you motivated and keeps you active. Cooking, gardening, like I said, you know, I'm a pretty good handyman. Like if something breaks, I can fix it. Like I fix cars. But I got a job, you know what I'm saying? But I fix cars, you know. And man, start the garden. But Dante, I tell you something though. Be careful with it. Because if you got any like cats or dogs in your neighborhood, Lord have mercy. Cats in particular. Cats hop the fences, come to y'all, eat your stuff. Cats, snakes and stuff, that's not a big deal in major metropolitan areas most part. But them cats, boy, if them cats like your food, they over there. But that kind of stuff, you got to do something, man. Do something, to make yourself useful and mend if you got a broken heart, mend your broken heart that way. Um, the like one of the reasons I say that is because of what I said earlier when I read down, kind of like the ruling in a sense. The biggest issue isn't the unfairness, but it's like when you write it out, when it's written out on paper, you realize the only person that's gonna get a negative light is you as a man. Appreciate it, fam. But they don't like it was never written like even when I had my first court hearing years ago, it was never really written in the negative things that my son's mother would do that she could admit to. That was the judge never really was like, okay, she did this, she did, but it was like alluded, but it wasn't outright. Me, it can be outright. And that's what I think to me, that's the unfairness with guys. It's like, dang, because in my opinion, if the judge actually writes it out the way it actually was, legally, like, oh, this happened in court, this happened in court, this happened in court, this happened in court, then if you rule in somebody in a female's favor, when they get caught up in so many lies, you look bad as a judge. So they don't do it. That's how I look at it. Like, they may feel like I got an intuition. I've seen some things. We normally rule with mothers, whatever, but it ain't, the fact that they do so much to cover up a lot of mothers' admissions of guilt is a bigger issue than the actual rulings, because now they don't think they, you know, it's like letting a criminal out, knowing that admitted to being guilty. So you know what they're gonna do when they hit the streets? Same crime, double time. Because I already went to court for this. I already said I did it, and they let me out. So I'm about to. I'm really finna turn up in these streets. They ain't gonna lock me up for this. It's like, oh man, why did you do that? Why did you do that? So, and for you guys who would, like, man, I'm never having kids, I'm never getting married. Listen, man, I wouldn't, I understand if you go down that road, but at the same time, I wouldn't tell you not to have kids. I really wouldn't. You know, it's hit and miss. Right now I missed. But I know far too many guys who actually hit, even with about bunch of drama and issues and bad situations. And plus, I know a lot of guys, you know, um, who've been in the same situation than me, it was worse, and the kid came around years later. But even those guys, when if I talk to them, they'll say the same thing, like, dog, you're gonna have to fall back. Can't trust that kid. Like, they even say that because they've been in the situation as fathers, like, the kid got to come around and go, dang, I did that. I did do that. Wow. I, uh, I can't come around because I know, truth be told, my son's probably scared to talk to me because he know he did what he did was messed up in the situation because he never said he wanted to go back to his mother. He never said that. But basically, he knew his mother was coming to swoop him up while I was at work. So for me, it's like, bro, you could have just said I wanted to go back with my mom. You didn't have to do all that. But then it's like, and since I've been a parent so long, I know how these situations end where I want to do what I want to do, and you won't let me do what I want to do. But when it goes bad, Dad, I need some help. And it's like, no, I'm not helping, dog. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna fix the situation. And then when I fix the situation, you flip me off like, I'm out now, nigga. And then when the situation, you go back to the same situation and it goes bad, you're like, Dad, I need some help one more time doing the same thing I flipped you off for the last 3 times. Like, no, not happening. You know, but and a lot of you ladies with y'all baby mama drama, I don't know what to tell y'all, man. I really don't. Like, a lot of this stuff for me as a man is pretty much freeing. Like, it's pretty much freeing because I'm gonna say it this way: I did everything I was supposed to do and more. I got the short end of the stick, okay, but I don't have any regrets. You know what I'm saying? I don't. You know. Um, but as far as the drama is concerned, I was always living. I had a plan for myself in my life. With my son, I had a plan for him, and without my son, I got a plan for me. So I never stopped the plan on my life ever. So the issue becomes for a lot of you ladies who are baby mamas and y'all got them attitudes, y'all waste 20, 25, 30, 40 years with baby mama drama and y'all lose y'all life. And a lot of that stuff is like, hey man, you on your own, you know, oh man, oh man, I ain't worried. Look, I appreciate it, miss. I really do, but when my son was with me, I never held him back from his mother. He talked to her all the time. Actually, too much in my opinion. But now that he's with his mother, I don't talk to him. I'm accustomed to that. So it's like, whatever. So now it's like I'm not gonna call every day. Like I was calling every day at the same time since he was 6 months old, just to say, hey, hear a voice. That. So I've got disrespected calling my son to talk to him since he was 6 months old for at least 14, 15 years already. So now I'm just done with that. I'm not, if you don't want to talk to me, you don't want to talk to me. If you got attitude, you got attitude. If you hang up the phone, you hang up the phone. But now I'm not calling anymore. I'm like, you want to talk to me, you just call me. You know, if you don't, you don't. It is what it is. So I've given my son all the advice, to let him understand what a work ethic is, show him how to do things. So now, with him, if he want to be, he gonna have to figure out how to be a man on his own now. That's all that is. Figure out if that's what you want, there you go. Five from the other side. Appreciate it, D. But I say that because a lot of young men, I feel for a lot of y'all because a lot of y'all, and this ain't just about me when I say this, a lot of y'all feel guilty because y'all know y'all can't go back. You know what I'm saying? Y'all feel guilty and y'all like, I can't go back. Like I did too much. I can't go back. You know, you know, even if I got forgiven, I already know it's gonna be boundary set. So I can't it'll never be like it was kind of situation. That's what I'm saying. So a lot of times young guys, they run from their dads, but they also run from responsibility and how can I say this? Duty. They run from doing what they're supposed to do, rules and regulations. They run from that. They run from discipline, and they run from discipline to the point where you know they find themselves in a situation where somebody has to discipline them as an adult, and then that's when you realize I'm stupid. Like this is dumb. I shouldn't even put myself in this position. So a lot of that stuff, even some of these coaches know. Like I don't know if a lot of you ladies know this, or some of the guys know this for sure. Um, a lot of times when guys are young men and they play sports and they have all these coaches and mentors, the coaches and mentors hear your story at first. They hear your story and they're like, okay, this kid needs a father figure in their life, blah, blah, blah. But when they find out that kid is lying about that story and that ain't actually what it is, the coaches and mentors don't deal with them in the same manner. Cause like, no, you got a father and a mentor. You just, oh, okay. No, I can't help you. You're not a kid who actually needs help. You're a kid who you want to help you. So they don't interact the same way. So, a lot of these kids have to learn at the hard way because then they think, I don't like, guys let me down. And it's like a lot of these older men didn't let you down. They just realized that they don't want to be a part of your game. You're not actually a kid who got left in a band and got a deadbeat. You're actually a kid who you gonna pick your daddy, and and then you gonna tell him you ain't my daddy when, kind of when he's like, no, you got to do this, 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 and this. We got to go. It's like, no, you can't tell me nothing. Oh, so you mean to tell me you came to me for me to show you how to do stuff, but when it's time to do this stuff, I can't tell you nothing. You got to go. And it's the same premise, what I'm saying, as far as parenting as a father. It's the same premise. So, dang, it's like I'm getting a lot of doggone messages. But I say that to say, some of you guys gotta, y'all gotta take it into consideration, man, that unfortunately, man, um, don't lose your mind if you lose custody. That's what I'm gonna say. Don't do that. Don't be don't go crazy. Don't tear everything up. Don't go, radioactive. Don't turn into the Hulk. Let it be what it is, man. If you did the very best you can, you can't, you like I can say this as a father. My son don't love me, right? So I can say that. So I can't spend my life loving somebody that don't love me back. And I can say I didn't do nothing for the not loving, but he was taught to not love me by his mama. And of course I don't love his mama. You know what I'm saying? It has it's not a it's not necessarily a personal thing, but over the years his mother has shown me she's just not a good human being. So I'm sorry, I just can't like you because you're not a good human being. I knew her since we were teenagers, but she didn't grow up to be a good person. That's just what it was. And so I leave, she's over there, I'm over here. That's just what it is. But don't if you have a hard time dealing with the fact that your kid don't love you, don't like you, don't want to be around you, if and you didn't really do it, and you didn't do anything for that, sometimes that's how life go, man. If you suffered some of the losses I've suffered prior to that, it wouldn't it doesn't hit as hard. Let me say it like this. My two best friends in life were my grandmother and my best friend Mike. They died 2 weeks apart. These are the people I would talk to every day. Like, you know, about everything. Like, the only people I trusted completely. He died. He basically died New Year's Day. She died 2 weeks after. And that was like, what, 15 years ago? No, 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 17 years ago. Like 17 years ago. So it wasn't, I had nothing after that because that was it. Like, that was like, ain't nothing going, you bury the two most important people in your life back to back. It is what it is, and I mean it in the sense of, um, see, like I said, I was raised by my grandparents. My grandmother and my grandfather on my mother's side, they passed away when I was in grade school and high school, and my grandmother who passed away when I was an adult. So that was like that was the most. So other stuff don't really, even if it hurt, it don't hurt like that. But for you guys who don't understand that, like, I hope you never have to. Like, one of my friends and coworkers passed away last year, and his brother, like, he's a father. He has like 5 kids. Like, his youngest was 2 years old, and I remember his brother said that was the first loss they ever had. You know what I'm saying? He passed away at like 48, 49. He was like, that was the first loss that family ever really had. And it's like, yo, they were blessed to go so long, but man, it was a big loss. So I know where they at. But for a lot of you cats, man, don't let it break you. Don't let them break you, B. But I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I'm gonna leave it at that. I got stuff to do. I got some videos to do and upload, man. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. It happens, folks. It happens. It's life. As long as you don't be afraid to live life, even if it don't go your way. That's what I say at the end. Keep living life, fam. But like, share, subscribe, die trying. You know, more. Yeah, wait a minute. We need to be more like Brian McKnight. I mean, hey man, he did right by them kids, man. They just spoiled, man. But like, share, subscribe, and I try and catch y'all on the next one. Peace.